this is the biggest VCon, Japa, that you have ever addressed. We have reached over 500,000 people watching you right now live, Japa. 500,000 of your kids around the world, Japa. All right, 500,000 of your kids around the world.
That's amazing. Wow. Anyway, greetings to all the V. I could only see the V, beautiful V partners. And the rest I could not see, but I heard there's like hundreds and thousands of you watching right now with your family, with your grandmother, grandfather around the world. And it's always an honor and very humbling for me to be able to be invited to speak still after 23 years back on the stage, but basically in my home. This is what we have right now, the virtual reality that we have. We could actually be anywhere in the world and still have VCon. And this is so amazing. And of course, please accept all my respects to everyone. Namaste, salam alaikum, and whatever other greetings that I don't know. I greet all of you. And it's very wonderful that you're taking time out to actually attend VCon, because even for me, it's my refilling time for me. I still, as a human being, we also, get lost and we run out of fuel in terms of being motivated to face our day-to-day life. But VCon is a place also for me. Just seeing your, motivated faces, just seeing the passion that you all have also energizes me. Just been watching. I was watching my messages on SMS, people from Africa, from India, from all over the place, and they're just queuing and attending despite, the scare of the fear of the pandemic. They're wearing masks, and it's just wonderful that, you're taking time out for this. This is very important. In fact, this is our lifeline. VCon is our lifeline. So anyway, Patman, what can I do for you today? Because I was told I'm not going to do some training right now. So before I get into the training mood, you got to stop me. Why am you're going to interview me of some sort? What can I do for you tonight since you're in space? Did we lost our connection?
Mr. Bismarck, I'm looking for Chief. He's coming. He's a little bit far.
Oh, okay.
Japa, so I just landed back on Earth, Japa.
Oh, thank you so much, Batman. Being back on Earth is very important because you could be lost out of space, lost in space. When we lose you, then what's going to happen with VCon if we lose Batman? They call it lost in space.
Exactly. So hyperspeed, Japa, I'm back.
But I cannot see you, Batman. Where are you?
I'm here, Japa. You can hear me, but you can't see me because we want you on full screen. So right now, the world is seeing you on full screen.
I could see two of me.
Yes.
It's a bit delayed than the other. Okay, anyway, Patman. So what are we going to do tonight?
Japa, you're gonna talk to your guys, your downlines, a little bit about your personal journey, Japa. And then later, your brother, Dato Sri Vijay, will be joining you to talk about your journey together. But I think tonight, they need to know your journey. And why did you choose this path? Of all the paths you had in life, why did you choose this path that has impacted so many lives around the world positively, Japa?
Well, actually, I never thought of any path at that time. Honestly, I just wanted to feed my family. I got 3 kids. And I was, during that time, I remember I met Donna. Donna knew I was teaching Taekwondo in universities and trying to, make a living. And for some luck, I would say destiny, I guess, Vijay has been introduced to me. In fact, 6 months back, I was delaying because my friend who met Vijay first wanted to bring him to my home But I was just so afraid because I heard VJ loves to eat Indian food and all of those things. And because he's vegetarian, I'm vegetarian, they want to connect me. But the problem at that time, I don't have enough money to be able to come up with, palatable dishes for VJ. So it kind of like took some time. But after 6 months, finally, I agreed to invite VJ in my home. We had a very good vegetarian dish. I cooked chapati for him, mung dal, and all of those things that I could remember cooking, the Indian food, because that was my first introduction to becoming a vegetarian, was Indian food, because that's the only vegetarian available. Anyway, so he came, and I knew he was a networker. I knew he came to bring a company, to launch a company, network marketing company in the Philippines. I would not mention the name anymore. And I really didn't want to join network marketing at that time because I heard a lot of scams about it. The Pentagono and all of those scams that was going on during that time. When VJ came, he came with a lot of negativity in terms of, the network marketing industry. So I was very much afraid to be recruited in network marketing. So kind of like I was a bit, what do you call this? I was not very welcoming in terms of having any other discussion. And one thing good about that night was that VJ did not even mention anything about network marketing. We talked about general life, where he traveled, about philosophy in life and all of those things. And the whole night we spent like 2 to 3 hours talking, and they left. And I was going, whew, there's no network marketing. I was surprised. I felt insulted a bit because what? He doesn't think I could be, be successful in networking. Why did he offer me this? I was so, in a way, upset that I was not offered. I was in a way insulted that I was not showed the plan, because this guy, a friend of mine, was really talking so much about network marketing. In fact, he wanted to recruit me. That's why he brought VJ. And he was upset that VJ did not even show me the plan that night. And in fact, VJ never showed me the plan at any time. That's why, Batman is still a mystery to me, whether VJ could actually do a presentation. I never seen. I don't know if you guys have seen VJ do a presentation, right? So it remains a mystery for me whether he could actually do a presentation, because I remember Uma was the one who showed me the products, the plan, and all VJ talked about was life, about what I was going to do. He put in so many, I call them bombs. He set some time bombs in my mind when I would be sleeping. Then this bomb would just explode, and I start thinking about those questions that I have no answers to. How you going to send your kids to college, to school, where you're going to get the money. And he was talking about all those things that I never thought. I was never, I was never forward in my thinking. So, but those questions that he asked me created some sort of a bomb in my mind, wherein I came to him and I told him, so what's this thing? What's this network marketing thing? Is that good? I started asking him this. What is this network marketing thing? And, his response to me, oh, Japa, I don't think it's for you. So I got more insulted because why would this not be for me? He said, no, I don't think you'll be interested because you're not the type who would, do this type of business. So I'm going, wait a minute. So anyway, I invited him to, first he told me, oh, I heard you, you do training, you're into exercising. So why don't we run? Why don't we take a walk? So I brought him to my morning walks. And of course, those morning walks, I didn't realize became a tap session. I don't know if you know what tap session is, right? It was that truth application program that VJ always had. He always calls it TAPS. And he started doing this, what do you call this? The trespass. He was talking about all the things that pretty much became a foundation for all the networkers today. Why we're here today, because of those trainings. But I didn't realize there was no actual modular form, but I didn't realize he was already training me, setting me up before I could even sign up. So we were walking for 6 months, nothing. I was not signing up at all because there was he didn't show me a plan. So after those many, many months of walking and talking, I went back to him. I said, Vijay, I want to join. I already got the money. I already got the entrance money. It was very expensive for me at that time. I had to save few months of earnings. So I said, I want to join. He didn't allow me to join. He didn't allow me. So I was like, no, please. I literally begged, please let me join. And so, okay, but we need to agree on something. He said, one, you have to commit on, training. You have to commit on learning. So he started giving me books. He gave me this book. I would not say where the company is from. It's actually the building blocks of network marketing from A to Z. It was this thick. The first network marketing company, it was from this guy, Dexter Yeager, the building blocks of network marketing. So I started reading it. And the first time I saw the principle of duplication and multiplication. Okay? And it just exploded in my mind, Batman. Wow, this is like royalties. You could be sitting in the beach, Ferdy would always say, beach money. You could be sitting in the beach and be actually earning. When I saw, wow, that I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep. And I'm sure a lot of you that are here today, because of this principle of network marketing, it just drove me in a way nuts. It's just like I said, is this real? So I was computing, kind of like doing the, 1 cent a day, doubling in 1 week, you don't see much. Doubling in 2 weeks, you don't see much. Doubling in a month, boom, immediately you're hitting on the millions. Because of the principle of, when I saw this, I went back to Vijay. And in fact, he insulted me more by saying, why don't I'll just offer you a salary and you do training for me. Because that time, in a way, I was kind of like, I was a speaker, I would speak and stuff. So he said, why don't you do this and I'll pay you $500. I said, no way I'm going to be paid $500 where I could make more and I'll be the one building your I started now understanding some of the terms in networking. And immediately he smiled and he accepted my registration. But see, I was the downline that was not chased by my upline. Not like most of you, I know, you chase your downline. Or following up your downline. When are you going to come to trainings? When we always follow up downline. But Vijay never followed up me. I was the one chasing Vijay. In fact, I became his driver. I would drive. Vijay didn't have a car when he was in the Philippines. I had some Mitsubishi car, or Volkswagen at that time. I would drive him to trainings, to his training, so that I may learn. Okay, and it's just so, and the follow up, and we had also that time delay products. Remember, 6 months. I owe you. Products are not coming, so I call Vijay. My downlines, they're complaining to me. So I get calls from downlines and stuff, and he would tell me how to answer them. Face them. You don't run away. There's negativity on networking. Face them. Talk to them. And I did that. So it was like I remember, even my first talk, I could not, sell toothpaste or shampoo. And that was the early products we had, shampoo, toothpaste, and all of those things. And so like I would not go up on stage. So I was thinking, oh, VJ would build it for me. That's what I was thinking. He would speak. So I said, okay, I invited some friends. He showed up for the first meeting. But still, he did not show the plan. I remember Uma was the one who showed the plan. That's why until now, it's a mystery whether VJ could do the plan of our business, of our company. So anyway, second meeting, I invited more. VJ said, okay, I'm coming. Oh, I'm just late. Traffic, he used the Philippine traffic, which is everybody's excuse to be late in the Philippines. I'm coming. So just introduce. So I came, I introduced myself, and he's not yet there. So I kind of like started talking a little bit. I didn't know what I was doing exactly. I was making mistakes, but nobody knows anyway. Then I find out VJ was just outside in his car waiting, just letting me sort of like finish the supposedly presentation, which I don't know what I was doing. Then he comes at the end, do some closing. And I was so angry. In fact, my first training with VJ, you know how VJ is always late. Yeah. He had me waited for 3 hours. 3 hours. I was like pulling this. That's why I lost my hair. Kept pulling my hair. Why is he waiting 3 hours? Why do I have to wait for 3 hours? And he comes and I'm so upset, irritated, angry. And he tells me, Java, what's wrong? What's wrong? You have me waited for 3 hours. You wasted my 3 hours. And you know what he tells me? How could I waste your 3 hours? It's not mine to waste. What did you do the last 3 hours? that was the answer to me. And I never had such an answer before. And then I realized, yeah, it's true. He didn't have my time. I had my time. What did I do in the last that 3 hours? It's me that wasted it, not him. So that was my first lesson. Then I became more patient now, because I would never wait for him ever again after that. I would still come on the spot because respect, he said he's going to be there. I'll still come on the spot, but I'll do my reading, I'll do my japa, I'll fill up the the time. So, I mean, this is our journey. So in the beginning, Patman, I didn't really have what you call a mission or vision. I just wanted to put food on the table. But I was very fortunate that I had an upline. VJ is our upline. And he is my upline. He is still my upline. That actually pushed me to grow. In fact, he believed in me more than I believed in myself. In fact, the first time I was going to do a sort of like a presentation, first time I was so nervous, okay? And he started introducing, you know how what do you call this? The edification, the hype, introducing a speaker. So I thought, oh my God, who's that speaker? You know what I mean? I was thinking there's probably a new speaker that I've not met, old friend of VJ. And ladies and gentlemen, the master of one-on-one. So I started looking at the back. I started looking, who's that master? Oh my, I got to meet this guy, the master of one-on-one. Then my name comes. Japadas, blah, blah, blah. I said, me? Of course, I didn't do that in front of everybody. I had to like pretend I'm the master of one-on-one because I don't want VJ to be embarrassed. So I stood up there, okay, little bit pretending I was like the master of one-on-one, but inside of me, I was dead scared. But see, that because of that edification, it gave me some confidence. Now I have to show that I'm the master of all, you know what I mean? Not show, but kind of like, how it is, when you have a boxer and you got to tell a story about them. Yeah. And that story, you have to hear the story. You have to believe in your story. Because you know what story you have, and if that story is negative, you start believing in it. And it starts becoming you. And this is really what network marketing is all about. In fact, today, I am made of all the positive inputs that my upline shared with me, told me. He created me. in a way. And the things that he told me, he empowered. How do you empower someone? You empower someone by motivating them, by giving them all the wonderful talks, the pep talks, the positivity, all the things that you tell them that what they could be or who they are. Even if they're not there yet, you could tell them, you are this person. So I started believing in those. It's not a hype, but I started believing in those stories. And I started making those stories my story of my life. And the reason I am now today respected as a founder, this and that, not because of something I had previously, but these are all accumulation from you, from people, from upline, from my V partners, you know, the positivity that we get out of VCon. That's really what makes us today. And we continue to do that. And the day we stop, telling this story, okay, the day we stop, then we also start dwindling, you know, just like a boxer, you know, when they stop training, what happens? They become weak as well. So there must be a constant, you know, training for us. And this is why we're here today, VCon. And telling my story is really, I mean, what story do I have to tell is that, you know, I just made the first step. That's all I did. I made the first step. And my upline pushed me to make the second step, pushed me further. I fell. There were times I wanted to quit when products were not coming. There were times, I mean, in the beginning, we didn't have anything. I was scared. People were asking about, oh, where's your license? We don't have a license. The government at that time could not give us a license. They don't know how to give a license. They don't know what network marketing is all about during that time. Even when we went to Dubai, network marketing was like, what is that, spider? You know, that's what the DED here told me. Oh, you're the spider. No, I'm not a spider. No, the spider, the networking, they call it spider web. You know what I mean? And so we just started pushing, not just ourselves. We pushed governments. We pushed people. We sold ourselves. We talked and we educated people. In fact, this is what the success of network marketing and the success of QNET today is, because we are very good because of VJ's training in educating people. This is the power we have today, is that we are educators. We educate everywhere we go. So when somebody don't know about network marketing, they're ignorant about it, of course, they're going to say it's a scam. So it's your duty as well. And most of you are listening today. It's your responsibility to train, to learn everything, grow as the leader that you know you should be. Grow to that leadership role wherein you'll be the main. You educate everyone you meet, not just the people you sign up. What I learned in QNET from the early days, even from VJ, it's not that I just don't sign up people to become my members. No, I just don't sign up. In fact, I sign up when I speak of signing up, not just to join you in your network, but I talk to government officials. I talk to anyone who is ignorant about network marketing. Whether they join my network or not join my network, it doesn't matter. We're here to educate, and we constantly educate. This whole VCon is all about educating. And the purpose of this VCon is that you may believe in us, because that's the first thing. Without belief, you cannot grow. You got to believe in us. And how do you believe in us? You have to hear us. You have to see us. Shake our hands. Hug. We cannot do that right now, but this is as far as we could go. So we're real people. And it's not that we were born successful. I wasn't born a founder. Dato VJ, when I met him, Dato didn't even have a car. You know this, Ferdy, right? In fact, we would go to events sometimes. We would take a Jeep in the Philippines. Then we will walk. We stop here from afar away. We walk to the hotel so that Ferdy and the rest of those top leaders of another company before would not see us as like poor, no car. Because, you know, Ferdy and those guys, they were driving this Pajero and the hot cars at that time. Of course, now Pajero is no longer the hot car, but At that time, it was like the hot car. And it's not that we were ashamed that we didn't have cars. It's just that people are also ignorant. They judge you based on what they see. So sometimes that's why we need to dress up. So I was thinking today, hey, I've gone this far. I don't think I should wear a suit anymore. I think I could be in my home with my plants and welcome all of you home in VCon. Because the goal is not to be looking like Kuna on a tie, right? The goal is to be relaxed, wearing your shorts, staying home, swimming in a beautiful beach, like Ferdy would say, beach money. But in the beginning, we have to, of course, dress up. We have to do all the things because, see, we have to impress our downlines that they believe in us. But I know all of you leaders, most of you believed in us, and that's why you're here today. I believed in VJ. That's why I'm here today. And this is the family that we have built the last 23 years. And I see more exciting things coming up. In fact, during the pandemic, if I may just share with you, me and Vijay had a call and a talk, and we were kind of like, is this the end? You know what I mean? That song, this is the end. Is this the end? That was like kind of like the negativity that's going on in my mind. Is this the end of us? No VCon. Okay? Nothing. What about the meetings? No, I think we're going to fold up. So many companies are folding up. This is the fear that was growing. Vijay immediately calls me. Chaparas, we're going to go virtual. Huh? Virtual. Zoom, whatever we could do. So rally. So we started talking, meeting. And just the last 2 years, okay, I got busy again. In fact, meeting more networkers, meeting more people, meeting more in the company than ever before. I would 5 to 6 hours on Zoom meetings. We got busy. And what I saw in that time, from the networkers to corporate company, they started making plans. And what did the plan I saw? The plan that I saw reassured me that we're going to be around the next 20 years. Why is that? Because boom, pandemic, dead end. And I started in our meetings, we call it plan B, plan A, plan C. Our people started creating tracks again, roads, because there was a dead end. What do you do when there's a dead end? Create additional pavement, make highways, reaching where? The next 5 years, the next 10 years, next 20 years. And so that's what I saw. Our company did not stop. Our people just said, hey, we're going to create new highways. We're going to create new roads, new path towards the destination to bring forth everyone that still believe in us, because we have responsibility to the people we brought yesterday. And I know most of you, a lot of you today who's attending VCon could be your first time. I heard around 60, 70% of you you're here for your first time. So let me congratulate you for joining VCon, because VCon is the event of the V. This is the main event. And the people you would see from the V, people who invited you here, also went through, right, a similar story that I have. We had difficulties. Of course, you would only hear the successes most, but if you talk to them, you would hear the failures. In fact, last week, I was in LA, because, I came from Hawaii and I had to fly to LA coming to Dubai. So it's like boom, boom, because of the pandemic. Anyway, I was there. I had to wait for my flight to Dubai. I was there for a week. And so I took this pedicab, it's like a rickshaw. In India, it's the rickshaw, but it's a bicycle rickshaw. And it was driven by a kid, 19-year-old kid from Moscow, trying to earn a living in America. So he drove us for 1 hour, and I had to stop And he was asking me, "Sir, are you a millionaire?" And I was just wearing my shorts. I was just wearing my shorts. He said, so I looked at him, "What makes you think I'm a millionaire?" Because, sir, only, someone staying in that hotel and doing this sort of like, there's like middle of the day, it's like Monday, no, you're not working, you know what I mean? Like, how do you get to do this? He was asking me. So I just smiled. He said, "Because of networking, I said, "Networking." So he said, "So you're very successful." Well, I'm not sure about success, how you define success, but I'll tell you one thing. I made a lot of failures. I've been through failures in my life. So how you define success? Like he was asking me, how do I define success? I said, I think for me, my definition of success is the more failures you have, the more successful you become. And it doesn't stop. Like, it's not like, okay, I'm successful, that's it, and I'm not going to breathe anymore. No. You may be successful today, and a lot of you might be thinking you're successful today, and that would be your failure when you start thinking you're successful. We always need to be hungry for something. If it's no longer your car, if it's no longer your house, if it's no longer anything that money can buy, you must still have that passion. And for me, training, talking to people, encouraging them, motivating them, turning them to be somebody that people would follow and believe, for me would be like my greatest, I would say, work. It would be my like masterpiece to create, people that they're going to be ourselves, like, successful people. And so that's kind of like a short story that I have, not into details, but man, it's I'm always humbled. And, although, people, you guys call me founder, but all of you are founders, honestly.
Yep.
Of course, marketing wise, you call me a founder, but all of you are founders.
Thank you, Japa.
That's what I said.
Thank you, Japa, for the unbelievable story. And most importantly, you gave your version of how you met Dato Sri and how you started. So now,
Oh my God.
While Japa
He got
is
the
here,
last day.
yeah. I
Was
lost
he
my
listening
voice.
to me when was he listening? Was Dato listening to me?
Yes, he was listening.
Oh my God.
He was watching
Now
the whole
I'm gonna
time. So
I'm gonna
VCon,
get fried now.
all over the world, you heard from Japadas Bismarck, the one and only. And now, for the first time on this VCon, broadcast live around the world and the universe, right? Our founder, our visionary, the man who's responsible for millions of lives changing positively, the man who has built not only a company, but a family that has lasted for 23 years, and we are growing bigger and stronger every day. So VCon 2021, please rise wherever you are in the world, rise and help me welcome on day one of VCon 2021, the one and only Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran. Guys, you have Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran live from his beautiful home, because tonight both our founders told me, Patman, the message tonight is welcome home. And if we are going to welcome them home, we don't want to be all dressed up with lights and sound. We truly want to welcome them home to our homes. Thank you, Japa. Thank you, Anne, so much for allowing 500,000 people around the world into your homes. Anne, Japa spent about 30 minutes telling his version of the story of his journey, starting with you. And Anne, we are so grateful to you. And today you have 500,000 of your children around the world waiting to hear from you. The one and only Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran. Anna, you have to unmute, Anna, I believe. We just talked about this earlier. The most common word used in 2021 Japa is please unmute. Sati was saying it earlier. No, we still can't hear, guys. Is it muted from your side? No. Japa, can you say something? Oh, Japa is muted. Somebody muted Japa also.
Yeah, now I was not able to unmute myself.
Okay, and then now can you say something? Okay, so Dato Sri is still muted. Is it muted or
your guys are sleeping, Batman.
no, Japa? This is technological. The technological web.
Spaceship. From
Okay,
the spaceship.
and then now can you say something? No, we still can't hear.
Still.
Here we can hear. Anna, we can hear you. It's on here, but your
I
Zoom.
cannot hear, VJ.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Okay, can we try again? Or does Dato Sri? Well, to everyone watching around the world, welcome to technology. All right. Are we okay? Also, you're unmuted here, but Dato Sri's side is the sound is not coming. Okay. This is a very unique situation. Anna, is Ridwan there, Anna? Yeah, Ridwan, you may have to log off and log in again because we hear here, but we don't hear. You are unmuted, but we can't hear you. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Ridwan?
Actually, I'm muting VJ so he cannot say bad things about me. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, we got
what's
to,
going on?
Yeah, we're just trying to. The sound input is not coming from Dato Sri's side. Okay, Ridwan, we are not getting sound from your side. We are only getting the visual. Okay, Anne, the master plan has no flaws. We need to log you off and log you in again. Japa and I will do a dance while waiting. All right, just give me 30 seconds. To all the participants around the world, all right, welcome to VCon and welcome to the age of technology. And I'm so grateful that Dato Sri and Japa decided to do this from their homes, which is a very private place. And we wanted them to welcome you home to their home. So your chance to hear the great one, Dato Sri Vijay, has been delayed by exactly 15 seconds. All right, and we'll get Dato Sri back and you will be able to hear the voice of our upline and visionary. No. We still can't hear. It's the same Zoom account, right? That Japa and Dato on. Okay, so everything is okay here except...
Can you hear me?
Yes!
Yeah, fine.
Can you hear me now?
Yes!
Welcome home!
Vanakkam Dato Sri, vanakkam.
Welcome home, Beacon!
Welcome, Dato Sri. Welcome.
Thank you, Dato Sri. Thank you.
Thank you, Master Dato Sri.
So
And I got all dressed up for you.
beautiful, Anna. I love your batik shirts. It's been a tradition of VCon. Anna, thank you for allowing us into your beautiful home. Once again, Anna, 500,000 of your children around the world watching you and Japa right now. They are all yours, Anna.
Well, the dream has always been that, we can do this from my home to yours. Traditionally, when I walk around the stadium, I say to you guys, to everyone, can I come home? Your home. But today, I'm able to do this from my home. So truly, this is a miracle. Because from my home to yours, this is a dream that I would have never been able to anticipate. I don't think that neither Japa nor I dreamt that we would be able to do this across the world. And it's amazing that we can do this. Despite the various challenges of the pandemic, the one thing that has happened is we have come a lot closer to each other. But the traditional welcome of VCon, have we already done it, Padman? Come in?
Yes, Anna.
Have you already done it?
Not yet, not yet. We have not done your traditional welcome to VCon.
Are you ready?
Yes!
Are you? I know this is not having the traditional oomph, but it is somewhat more intimate, is it not? This is like as if I'm sitting in your home, each of your centers, wherever you are, in which you're a part of the world, I'm sitting there and I'm talking to you one-on-one, both Japa and me. So we usually begin our session talking about how we began, because a great number of you have never heard this, and we have different versions of it as we go along. Is because the years get longer, our memories get a little bit, a little bit more elaborate. But most of what Japa said is true, almost all of it, actually. And, the only thing is, from my side of things, I was grateful that Japa was there at very critical points in our existence when we started together. The importance of building a partnership and the importance of building a partnership that lasts is simply about one thing only, and that is the trust that we build. It's based on, us being friends first, and eventually family. And I'm ever grateful that the day that Japa and I met, our journey began. Now, it is pretty much incidental that we went through a number of different experiences that brought us closer together. But having said that, the experiences merely made us stronger, tougher, and fitter to meet the challenges of the next 23 years. It's been awesome. 25 years actually. It's been an awesome quarter of a century, Chapatas. Thank you very much. And to the V partners, guys, our journey continued. From the time we met Japa onwards, at different junctures, we met so many of you. Donna, how are we doing? See, Donna is a classic example of being able to have beach money and retire, because she's actually not too far from a beach out there. So that's, a classic example of passive income, so to speak. How's it out there?
Very good to be isolating, but not be isolated.
I like the fact that you can sit there in your island growing cocoa and still be part of everything that we do around the world. That's awesome.
I have
TG,
chocolate for you.
yeah.
Hey, good morning, Dato Sri.
That
It's
goes
been a long
by.
time.
It's an awesome journey. I have to thank you both, TG and Donna, for some of the most exciting times in my life. And must be yours as well. Albeit, coincidentally, but still, you must admit they were exciting times.
Very, very true, Dato Sri. In fact, it seemed like only yesterday when you were doing the presentation at my house.
I still
It
remember
seemed
you
like
working
only
with
yesterday.
Wait a
that
minute,
he was-
TG, VJ did a presentation? I didn't see that.
You were there with VJ Japa.
No, but he was not the one who did the presentation.
Oh, no. He did
yes.
the close.
No,
Yes.
he did the closing. But when you
Correct.
say presentation, like this,
Yeah, the circles.
yeah, the circles.
Yeah, and VJ was not able to close you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was. TG was on the phone all the time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
So
true.
he could not be
Yeah.
closed by anyone because he was
And
so
he was
close.
he was launching, texting. He was like,
It actually took a couple of weeks for me before it clicked in my mind, VJ, that this was a real business.
he did the
So-
math.
Yeah. Well, that's where our journey began. But it was a very interesting time. Of course, TG would not have known that we had to probably get there in a jeepney, but those are things we will not discuss.
That's true. Besides, it would not have mattered to me very much, Dato Sri, because early on in our relationship, when I had barely known you and Japa, somehow me and my family trusted you a lot. You know that.
Yes, it was trust is a very important thing in our relationships, and all of the different V partners. I think that has been the bridge that has brought us together. So, the journey continues from TG and Donna. We have the lion from Punjab somewhere out there,
Ane,
Ranjit Singh.
Ane,
Yes, Dato Sri. Good evening, Dato Sri.
Yes,
so
Padman.
nice to see you.
Ane, right now the participants only seeing you on the screen. They can't see the V partners yet.
Okay. All right.
So,
So
I'm
we
Good evening,
will-
Japa.
gonna bring the V partners up after this, after you and Japa,
Okay.
and then I'll bring the V partners up. Ane.
All right. Well, Japa,
Yes.
the thing that
I'm here.
I would like to correct a little bit is that I'm not so sure that calling you master of the one-to-one was one-on-one was some kind of fabrication or a lie. It was your strength and skill, perhaps not something that you actually were able to recognize at the time, but you have always been that. It's your strength.
I didn't believe in it, Vijay, until you told me and kept telling me, and everybody sort of like start telling me I was the master one-on-one. So I kind of like, okay,
Well, you work best when you are able to talk, eyeball each other, and you do that phenomenally well, because I think you have to believe in something before you would ever start to talk to anyone about it, and that belief is your strength. And I like the fact that you use that to talk to people and to convince them, and that makes you the master. So they buy into the belief. I've always believed that, I've always understood that. They buy into the fire, the passion, that you bring. And, and I remember that from the Philippines. I remember that very well indeed. There were other topics that, put you on fire, ranging from, the early morning walks. It was a two-way session. On one side, I get to do a mini taps. On the other side, I get a workout. And you were very passionate about the workout, Japadas.
yes.
So
Until now, Vijay.
but that's what makes us work together, because we come from such varied, different backgrounds.
Yes.
But I still remember how the journey began and how we began, with the very first presentations, right? And maybe I was not too focused on the presentations because I was always more focused on the people.
Yes.
And, getting them and getting the right people was always my biggest challenge. So I look for people, and that's what I think we did together. At one point, Japadas, I mean, if you look at the people, right now, looking back at the screen towards us, that is all your downlines, Japadas. At some point, it all traces right back. And that's phenomenal. I think if they look at you, Japa, they recognize that they can do this. If they look at you, they feel that even I can do this. Anyone can do this. And that is a very powerful statement to make. So there is nothing special that I did except I was able to be by your side at the time. And it was great being able to build this together. So what else do you remember from those days?
Well, I remember the island travels, networking island travels, going to Secure, getting seasick, you losing your wallet. And that's the first time I saw Umayal get so angry when you lost your wallet.
There was a lot of money in that wallet.
Yeah, because you didn't know how to ride a tricycle,
Somebody was very happy that day.
Yeah.
So I remember that very well. And then came along, somewhere along the way, Kuna, Patman, Ranjit. So, Pavan.
Nah. So since both of you started talking, I have a question for both of you. It's hard to believe that two business partners who started a journey together can stay together for 23 years. It's unheard of, right? Most partnerships in any form don't last this long. I know marriages that don't last this long. But what kept you and Japa together? What kept you so aligned? I don't know, is that the right word? What kept you so aligned on your vision and your path?
We were friends first. I think that's the most important thing. Ultimately, he's my friend and a brother. So, Japa.
And I think also, Vijay, is that we don't try to envy her. I don't envy you, Vijay. That's, I think, very important. Despite you taking on the role of leadership, although we're partners, but I would always see you always first as an upline, despite our so-called being co-founders. You always remain an upline to me. And I think that's make a lot of difference because we all also had founders before that always thought, no, we're equal with him. And so there's competition in terms of, taking leadership. And that's why, when you're around, I would always just be quiet and let you speak. I would not try to compete. And of course, I'd never see a I would never compete with you. I think that's one main thing.
Well, we each have our different strengths, right, Jobs?
Yeah.
I'm not going to compete with you when it comes to yoga, Tai Chi, and the whole lot else that you do so well.
Yeah.
And your way and mine are a little different when we approach, the network. And it's beautiful to have that salt and pepper mix, right? So that's very important. There's no question that there is a balance in these things. We work together because we balance each other.
Yeah.
You know, in the early days, Chapatas, it was you that slowed me down when I was a little bit too aggressive sometimes and ready to go into battle at the drop of a hat. You would say to me, you know, let's think this over again. You know, let's give this person another chance. Let's slow it down. And you were that voice of reason. And I was a little bit more hot under the collar in those days, Chapatas. Especially with our original partnerships, so to speak, if you remember.
Yeah. Well, what scared me the most is when you said, Japa, we have to start opening up other markets, because we were pretty much happy. I was very much happy with the sales going on in the Philippines that time. And you said you're going to open up Hong Kong and Malaysia, do corporate. I was like, wait a minute, means the Philippines would be supporting, the sales in the Philippines would be supporting those places. And you told me, Japa, we cannot put our egg in one basket. We got to start opening up markets. So when something happens, and it did happen. You know, we had some challenges in the Philippines, but when the challenges in the Philippines came, we were already doing sales in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia. So it was really, I could not imagine if you know, we didn't open. So it was very strategic thinking that you did that.
Is basically, this is something that we saw being global at the time. There was a strength behind it. And when we took it to Hong Kong, it was simply because Hong Kong was the ideal location for us to run a global operation.
Yeah.
So it was each time we just grabbed for something higher, a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more challenging. And even today, that has always been the theme. But I think we stuck together for 23 years or 25 years simply because we are very, more than trust, I think, is the familiarity. We are family. We know each other. And that is a very comfortable place to be in. And that is a reassuring place to be in. You know, I would rather have you, Japa, than, you know, anyone else to deal with some of the challenges that we have gone through in the past.
Thank you, Vijay.
So basically, I think we've really gone through some really, really tough challenges together.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we are partners in more ways than one, Japatas.
Yeah.
So any other questions, Paman?
Yeah, yes, Ane. The next question is, what would you and Japa consider as your greatest accomplishment, your greatest achievement in the past 23 years?
The greatest. Paman?
Yes, Ane.
I think this is it. Our greatest accomplishment has always been people.
Yes.
Yeah.
The fact that we can do this right now and reach out to as many people as we have done. I mean, you remember, Paman, when they were talking numbers to us and asking us, when are we going to break this $1 billion mark?
Yes, I remember.
And some journalist was bugging the heck out of me, and I said, I've never considered, the $1 billion mark as a goal. But reaching 1 billion hearts, that has always been a goal.
Yes, Ane.
And that remains a goal today.
Yeah.
So I have always counted my victories, my successes in terms of people. My treasures, my wealth, my assets are people. And that's you. That's exactly you, all of you, the V partners, everyone listening out there, the people who have been loyal to us, who work by our side. It is always amazing to me how in our deepest, darkest hours, during the times when we have been truly challenged, people have stood by us. People who have remained loyal to us, who have not, shirked from the responsibility or the challenges that we had to undergo, they actually stood by us. And that has been the most wonderful thing for me, Japadas. How about you, Japa?
Yeah, VJ. Like Patman asked me the same thing, and basically I told him, for me, my success that I consider is actually being able to train, educate, and reach where we are right now, having thousands of people that we could somehow be part of helping them, be successful. And it's no longer the cars, no a house or money that's done. That was the first few years. Now
I don't
it's
think the cars lasted very long.
because every year there's a new car. You know what I mean? Like I've the phones and all of that thing. I mean, right now even what do you call this? Servers give you free phones now. You know what I mean? Because you're using it a lot. They give you free phones. I'm not even like. It's really VJ. It's the like what you say. I'm with you. It's the network that we have today is our greatest asset. The people we have today, the relationship, the family.
Beacon is the crown jewel of this asset.
Yeah, that's why I was also saying that this VCon is the most important event in the V QNET.
But everything I look at is measured in terms of the people. So, for instance, what we are able to do. I was. It just reminds me. I was addressing the ASEAN Leadership Forum. The day before yesterday, which happened to fall on my birthday as well. So. It was very interesting that on that day I was able to address something close to my heart, which is the concept of ASEAN. Now, why the concept of ASEAN? Because ASEAN is very much similar in nature to our challenges and the fact how network marketing works. ASEAN, if you break up the 10 member countries, none of them could stand in the world in any ranking whatsoever. They would be bigger nations. If at all, Indonesia, because of its population, may have some weight. Singapore, because of its GDP. But basically, boil it down to the individual nations, ASEAN is nothing. But when they come together, 600 million people, now they become a trading bloc. They become, arguably in the top 5 economic powers in the world. When ASEAN comes together, everyone has to listen. It's the fastest growing, economy or the fastest growing middle class in the world. So ASEAN sits in between India and China, in between Asia and Europe, in between US and Asia. And it sits geographically as well as economically. But we have to come together. And this is what I addressed them. I said the concept of ASEAN, which is how it began all those years ago, was for us to stand against the bigger forces out there, be it China, be it the US, be it India, be it any bigger nation. Now, likewise, the reason why we work is because we basically cut across countries, caste, class, we cut across cultures, we cut across religion. There is nothing that should interfere or create a barrier between us. We are one. My favorite slogan over the last 35 VCons, I'm told this is the 35th VCon, so that's amazing, guys.
Yes,
35. So over the last 35 VCons, there are many catchphrases that we came up with. I love many of them, but the one that stays in my head often is "We are one." And that is our single most powerful phrase. So when I addressed the ASEAN Leadership Forum the day before yesterday, I reiterated that point, that ultimately what would make us strong is for us to come together. then we truly belong. So that argument is, I think, the greatest thing. In this time of pandemic, we are challenged. All around the world, we are challenged. There's never been a challenge like this for 100 years. We are isolated. We have been in many areas, we are basically cut off from each other. It's been one lockdown after another. It's been perennial. But despite all this, there are some beautiful, beautiful chances for change, for real change. Families have come together. Families have become stronger. Actually, relationships have grown stronger because we have the time now to basically relate to each other as well as to become stronger as individuals. This is an opportunity for us to build ourselves even stronger, to build our skill sets. And I think it's beautiful that at this time of the pandemic, because even this will pass away, even this will be behind us. But at this time that we can come together was so important to me. Despite the fact that we had all of these challenges, we still needed to do VCon. Simply because we can reach out and touch someone, and reach out and touch you, and say to you out there, wherever you come from, the Middle East, Africa, Central Asia, India, even here in Southeast Asia, but wherever you come from, we can reach out to you and say simply, we are one. This is our family, and we will stand together. And that has been our only secret, people. Does that help, Padman?
Very much, Anna. The next question is an interesting one. Over 23 years, you and Japa built this company on the foundation of truth, rhythm, and I believe that this has not changed over 23 years. But the rest of the world has been critical. I remember people who told you, Anna, the company won't last more than 2 years, 2 months, then 5 years. And with all the challenges you have gone through, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with the challenges, even though you know what you're doing is for the good of the people in your family? How do you deal with the criticism? How do you deal with the, these people who don't understand us, basically?
I have a poster. I'll probably be ready to show it to you tomorrow, but I like it because it says very simply, lions don't really care what the sheep think.
Yes, yes, yes. Japa, you're on mute. Sorry, Japa, you're on mute. We can't hear you. You have to unmute.
Japadas?
I could not unmute myself.
Now we can hear you. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, because you unmuted me. I don't have control from here.
Okay.
Anyway, Vijay, I was saying that in the early days, we also have a very famous saying that let the dog barks and the caravan moves on.
Yes, yes.
You want me to say it in Bahasa?
Yes, Japa, try.
Anjing menggongkong, Khalifa berlalu.
Respect.
Is that right?
Respect. Yes. Respect, Japa.
So, basically, let's not forget, that is a beautiful line from Khayyam. And we let the dogs bark, but the caravan moves on.
Yes.
It's the same thing, insofar as we are concerned. We are trying to create a mentality of lions in this world, which is surrounded by sheep. So everyone follows. That's the only thing they seem to know how to do. So they are definitely affected by every rumor that comes in. Listening to everybody. Peer pressure is the biggest pain out there right now. And I think we just need to pull ourselves up from our bootstraps and start to remember who we truly are, that we are born to be lions. So never, and I've never let what someone else, thinks be a hindrance or block me. I think people are in a way inhibited by their own fears. Why would I want to make their fears into mine? Each of them are driven by their fears. They are inhibited by their fears. They live in the prisons of their minds. Now, when I start listening to them, then their prisons become mine. And that's not something I would ever want to do. So, very simply put, let the dogs bark. The caravan moves on.
Thank you, Ane. No, beautiful answer. Thank you, Ane. Thank you, Japa. And the final question before you speak to your V partners, Ane. In your opinion, is the statement that you always say that you have to remove fear to succeed? You have to remove fear to succeed. And you always tell people, get rid of the fear and you will succeed. Now, your definition of fear is not what we think. It's not afraid of heights. What do you mean by that statement, Ane? And did you... But also, Ane, did you and Japa in 1998 have any fears when you started this journey?
Well, I had a lot of fears. I remember that.
Well,
I did.
I don't think we allowed our fears to basically hold us back. Okay, let me put it this way. Yes, there were fears. I think Japa would agree with me that we had fears. We all had fears. But at the same time, I think the fear that actually overcame all the other fears was the fear of being poor, the fear of poverty, the fear of defeat, the fear of failure that left a bitter taste in our mouths. We had been too long left behind. We had given in too many times. We've given up too many times. And both Japa and I had come to that position, that place on the road where we are going to say, we're not going to do this anymore.
I think also, Vijay, that the vision we have outshine the fear, because you kept on talking the vision where we're going. And because you're focused on the vision, you don't get to feel your fear anymore. That's what at least I felt. But was I afraid? Of course. If I would sit down alone and focus on my fear, I would not be moving. But you had me focus on the vision, not on my fear.
In reality, we were just too busy to be afraid.
Yes.
Yeah, that is the best way to deal with
best way to describe it, Vijay. We were too busy. Too busy to be afraid.
We just became too busy to be afraid,
Yeah.
In essence, if you look at someone who's climbing Mount Everest, is he afraid? Absolutely.
So Vijay, is really idleness is the breeding ground of fear.
Fear is born out of ignorance, Japanese.
Yeah.
So, when it's born out of ignorance, it's basically, you're right, and idle mind is a devil's workshop, right? Sitting down in your comfort zone is where fear is born. But we were too busy surviving. We were too busy trying to thrive, trying to survive. And that there wasn't any time to be afraid. If you talk to people who do rock climbing, right? If you see them, they're hanging on the edge of the cliff, basically from just on their fingertips, essentially, and clinging to and moving up from one little ledge to another. If they look down, it's incredibly scary. And they're just putting their whole weight onto their fingers, but they're just too busy until they reach the top. And that is essentially what we did at the time. I think, and it was a very important time in our lives where we just simply had to make it or break. And that was, I think, the critical point. We were just too busy to be afraid.
That's a nice
Does that make
place.
sense, Padman?
Very much, Ane. And so true to the networkers on the ground also. You always told me, if you got time to give me excuses, you're not doing enough presentations. Next question, a bit personal to both of you. Ane, what
Yes.
do you admire most in Japadas Bismarck?
Oh, wow.
Japadas is, I think, his greatest strength. I've said this many, many times. Actually, his greatest strength is simplicity. He is a simple man. And because he's a simple man, he is both, an honest man, which is saying a great deal, and ultimately, he's a good man. And to find someone like Japa is finding a diamond in the rough. I was just fortunate that, Japa was the first of many diamonds that I found along the way. But his greatest strength has always been that, Japa is what you see. What you see is what you get. And, he speaks from the heart. And our hearts connected. So I've never had to pretend in front of Japa. I am who I am. And that is a very comfortable relationship because we can be open to each other in that fashion. So truly, that's the gift that Japa brings.
And Japa, the same question to you. What do you admire most of our grand upline, Dato Sri Vijayeshwaran?
Well, Vijay, I always see him as a human sculptor. He's the Van Gogh of human sculpting because he sees what a person could become or their potential. He sees that in early stages, their potential, and he actually gets to work on that by sculpting slowly, patiently, hours of meetings and patiently, like sleepless nights working on someone that I would have probably already given up. In fact, I've given up in most people. But Vijay would be patiently there, sculpting slowly. And you could see. So I would always, that's his greatest strength. He's a human sculptor.
Oh, that's a
artist.
That's actually an amazing description, Japa. It's the first time I'm hearing somebody describe Dato Sri like that. I think it's beautiful and very true.
I'm sure it all. He did most of the V partners here. Is Vijay's sculpture.
Yes, very true.
We've experienced that in many of our meetings with him.
Yeah, he picked us up.
We are today because of his patiently sculpting away all the fears, all the negativity, and just bringing out the potential in all of us. So, thank you, Vijay.
Thank you, Dato Sri. Thank you, Ane. And Ane, right now we have thousands of people around the world, and the majority of them are very young in the business. Some of them a few hours old. That means they just signed up, and some of them. Some of them under a month or a week old in the business. I'll start with Japa first. What's your one piece of advice for the new kids on the block, Japa, as they start the journey with your family?
Well, one, don't be afraid to fail, because failure would be your block, your stepping stone towards success. So for me, that's the most important thing for someone who's starting, that they should not be afraid to fail because it's part of success.
And
should I add more?
Yeah, one more. A bonus advice from you, Japa.
No, that's pretty much it. And always be hungry. Seek to learn, always seek. And that's the only, first thing I remember Vijay taught me. If somebody says to you, Japa, that this cannot be done, You just say, why not? And when I started using that magical mantra, why not? Immediately it eliminated, I realized most of the people, they don't know, right? They just say, no, it cannot be done. And you say, why not? They have no answer. Then I realized, hey, you don't know. Let me seek. Then I find someone. Yes, this could be done. Then I follow. You know what I mean? You do. So when I started asking why not, I started moving. Because normally when somebody says, cannot be done, you stop there and you give up. It's a wall. But when you start asking why not, that door would open, that wall would open for you. And that's how I moved in the early days, just using that term. Why not? Why cannot it be done? That's VJ might not be aware of this, but I pick up on those. I always call it like my anchor or my tools to break through this. I mean, the maze to break through the walls of blocking you from succeeding. You need tools to break. You need hammers. You need jackhammer to anything that gets in your way of becoming successful. You need those words of motivation that would allow you to move forward. You remember that, Vijay? You taught me?
Yeah, right.
Why not?
Why not? Absolutely, why not? So, my answer to them, Padman.
Yes, and your answer, ne?
First of all, there is no accident. If you are here at this place at this time, then this is something that you can potentially do. I don't believe there are any flaws in the master plan. Hence, first thing is you do not give in or give up. Because all of our failures before we started, as I said a little while ago with Japa and me, we had gone through myriad of failures in our life, different challenges, different issues. But when we started this, we said enough is enough. And we just kept on going. And I think simply, if you keep on going, the road opens up. Giving up is the biggest challenge, the biggest problem, the biggest obstacle that we have to give up, that we have to go over. And people give up way too easily. So they usually say, it's hard. It's hard. It's too hard. And here's my question to you. And this is something I've, often said to many people around the world. What is it in life that has been of value to you that is easy? Whatever you accomplish in life that has been valuable is always hard. That's the beauty of it. Only when it's hard will you value it. Only when it's hard does it mean it's victory. Only when it's hard does it translate into a reward worthy. It needs to be hard. But hard is what life is all about. If you look back at life, Patman, at some point, and look back at the times, the easy times is not what you remember. It's the hard times that you remember.
Yes, Ane.
True.
It's the hard times that made us into who we are. Even now, as I look back at the 23 years, of the company, 25 years with Japadas, it's the hard times that we went through that bonded us. It's the hard times that we went through that actually made us stronger. And I am grateful for the hard times. So is the road above you going to be hard? Absolutely. If you are here and someone has told you or sold you an idea that this is going to be a walk in the park, tell him to take a hike and go home. This is going to be a hard road, but it will be a worthwhile road. It will be a road that will set you free. It will be a road where you will find yourself. It is a road that you must take. So I will only say to you one thing. You are here now. there are no mistakes in the master plan. Take your first step. For the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that first step, then the next, and then the next, and then the next, because that is the secret to success. Be so busy that you have no time for anything else. You have no time for any fears. You have no time for anything that basically tempts you away from the path. So that would be my words.
Thank you, Ane. So powerful, so true. And for you, Ane, my next question, or the question before the V partners come in. VCon is your baby. If you remember, Ane, our first VCon in Singapore, and then Bali, and then it has grown today to become one of the biggest events in network marketing industry. And VCon is something so close to your heart that I still see the excitement in your eyes, and whenever VCon is coming up, after 23 years, you still come on stage, come on the screen today and give your 110%. What is VCon? How would you describe VCon to these guys who are here for the first time?
Well, Japa, would you like to say something?
Well, like I started early this afternoon. I was saying that VCon for me is a refueling place, because even me as a founder, I also get, you run out of gas, meaning you fight the battle outside, all of these things, your motivation also lowers down. But every time I go to VCon, of course, that's one refueling point for me is VCon. That's why I always try to be training, engaging with people. Vijay, you told me you always have to be engaging with people. That's what keeps you full tank to be able to move, Most of us, especially in the beginning, we're so excited. We got excited about something. We have this gas or petrol. We were so motivated. But see, you move, it runs out. And you don't realize you run out of petrol and you end up stopping, thinking, oh, what happened? What happened? I was so excited 6 months ago. Why did you stop? Simply because you ran out of fuel. So VCon for me is one refueling. It's like the OPEC, VJ. It's like this is where all the gas and oil is. So might as well fill up your tank, fill up your cans, barrels. Because all the speakers here would be motivating you until the next VCon. But don't just rely on the VCon refueling. You must also be engaging. You must engage. You must have your own VCon. You always told this about, it's not just this VCon, but every day you have to be doing VCon in terms of engaging with people. Especially now, you don't have any reason not to engage with people. Engage with your downer. And this is for me refueling. VCon is a refueling place for me.
Ane?
Well, VCon to me, the magic of VCon to me, actually VCon to me is every day. We live VCon every day. I need VCon probably more so than anybody else here today. Doesn't matter how many thousands are watching, whether it's 500,000 or even more. I need this more than anything else because this is the reason that I'm staying alive. All right. Now, there's a great song from the Bee Gees, right? Saturday Night Fever, Staying Alive. You remember
Staying
that?
alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
So that song is in my head when I think of VCon because if you remember that song, do you remember that song, Pavan?
Yes, Ane.
I do remember it. Staying alive, staying alive. Huh?
If you remember that scene, John Travolta is walking down the street and this music is going on, right? And he's got that amazing walk, right? It's never been truly replicated. It's this amazing walk where he walks down, swaying his hips and, shifting. And it's an amazing, but at that moment, it captures you being alive.
Yeah.
Captures, the excitement of being alive. Because otherwise, we're all rushing to the cemetery. Every single one of us. There's one certain destination that each and every one of us have, and that's the cemetery. And we are heading there. Now, the question is, are we staying alive every day? That's the real issue. And VCon, is perhaps the greatest impetus in making me stay alive. I'm more alive in VCon than any other given time. It's like I live from VCon to VCon. And for most people who come to VCon, that's the energy. VCon, the magic of VCon is to be alive. To be totally woken up to the fullest potential that each and every one of us have. That gives you that hope, that aspiration, that there's something more that you can do in life. That you can reach out and raise the bar higher. That you can do something before your time is up. And ultimately, that you raise yourself so that you can help mankind. And that is VCon. You see, and VCon keeps me alive. So, if you want to know what VCon is, VCon to me is life itself. Does that give you an answer?
Yes, Anna, very much. Anna, before we bring the V partners up, firstly, I think the 500,000 people around the world is mesmerized by the fact that this is the only company where the founders are still not only here, but hands-on, involved. But most importantly, both you and Japa have made sure that the DNA of rhythm, the DNA of truth, never gets diluted in QNET, the V. So to both you and Japa, Anna, we just want to say thank you. We love you so much, Anna. And before we bring the V partners up, we are giving everyone a little break, including yourself in Japa. Japa looks like he badly needs to visit the smaller room in the house. So to all VCon participants, as I mentioned earlier, the reason why our organization has lasted for 23 years, survived the pandemic, and today become the fastest growing e-commerce network marketing company in the world, I believe it's because of these two great men you see on your screen today. Their brotherhood, their loyalty to each other, their love for all of us around the world, regardless of race, religion, creed. And the fact, as Japa said, our grand upline, our mentor, Dato Sri Vijay Ishwaran, never gives up on anyone. So in 10 minutes, guys, when we come back, you will be able to see the beautiful sculptures that Dato Sri Vijay created over the last 23 years. It will be the V Partners live with Japa and Dato. So Anne, Japa, we will see you back here in 10 minutes. We love you. Thank you for gracing the first night of VCon. Guys, we see you in 10 minutes. Run, run, do your business, come back to your seat, because when we come back, you have all of Dato Sri Vijay's warriors, generals, and diamonds, the V Partners. See you in 10 minutes. We love you, Japa. We love you, Anes, so much.
Thank you, Padma. Namaste.